And welcome to Hero Power. I'm your host, Avanties, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host, Zerotio.
Vengeance.
Vengeance?
You're supposed to say vengeance, and then I say it again.
I did. I said vengeance. Oh, yes.
What is up, gang? I'm super excited. We got a lot to talk about. We're gonna do reviews over the Demon Hunter set. I'm just excited.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Lot to talk about. Again, no gameplay this week for those of you that watch the YouTube live. We are going to have a slideshow, and we will talk about all of the basic and initiate set Demon Hunter cards that are being released. And so let's jump right into it. What do you say?
Well, first, before we get into the patch notes, and which is pretty much all of our news, did you watch any of the theory crafting streams going on?
I have not. No.
Okay, so obviously you wouldn't have gotten cued into the joke. A lot of the streamers, and I was mainly watching Regis Kelvin, realized that with the new Demon Hunter cards, a lot of cards' voice lines just say vengeance or something involving vengeance. So when you get the board filled up with minions, it's like vengeance, 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 vengeance. I will have my vengeance, vengeance, vengeance.
Well,
all this vengeance.
now, did you see the new animation? Did you see the new animation from Carbot or whoever it was?
Yes.
Raunchy, where he shows up, he goes, vengeance, and he summons a minion, and he goes, vengeance, 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 vengeance.
It's the same thing. So anytime a streamer was playing Demon Hunter and they started attacking, just the chat would just fill up with vengeance, vengeance, vengeance. And Regis Kilwood was getting a kick out of it. I was getting a kick out of it. It was a lot of fun. I'm gonna like
awesome.
this new set. I'm really excited for Demon Hunter.
Yeah, me too. Looking forward to something new for a change. I know there's been a lot
It's
of talk about it.
It's probably all I'm gonna play at least the first week because I gotta try to zip up to the 500 wins as quick as possible.
There's been a lot of talk about Demon Hunter on the social media platforms, in groups like the Inn and Hearthstone the Community, and on Twitter. So I expect there to be quite a bit of, in fact, Demon Hunter may be all you see for the first couple of days. So.
Oh yeah.
But all right, so we talked about this last week. Patch 17.0 is now live, and with that, we got the duplicate card protection for all rarities that we talked about last week. New and returning players will get a free deck of the class of their choice when they log in upon returning. We got Battlegrounds updates. We got the new hero, Illidan Stormrage. And
he's good.
I haven't had a chance to play him yet. I haven't seen him yet. He hasn't popped up for me yet. So
I've only played him once, and I played against him a few times. The auto attack for your outward minions lets you set up so many death rattles. It's amazing.
Yeah. And then we had a couple of new cards. First up is the Deflecto Bot. Now, this is for Battlegrounds. Zerotio, tell us about Deflecto Bot.
Yeah, Deflecto Bot is it basically replaced the Cobalt, I forget the full name of it, the 6/3 that got Divine Shield when you summon minions. And now it is also a tier 3 minion, and I lost where it was at.
Yeah.
My link closed.
3 attack,
tier 3,
2 health.
There he is. 3 attack, 2 health mech, Divine Shield. Whenever you summon a mech during combat, gain +1 attack and Divine Shield. And it snowballs fast. It's really, really good.
Okay.
It might be a little OP. And then the other minion is the Felfin Navigator, which is actually a new card in the set. Is being put into Battlegrounds. It's a tier 3 Murloc, 4 forward stats. Battlecry, give your other Murlocs +1/+1. And of course, stats doubled, giving +2/+2 for Golden. this is kind of what Murloc was needing. It was always like good enough to get you like top 4, but not always to win. And if you can get a brand with Felfin Navigator going, you can kind of bridge that gap to winning those games with Murloc.
Okay, nice. We also saw those card changes that we talked about last week go into effect.
Yes.
So just to recap real quick, Dr. Boom Mad Genius went from 9 mana back to 7 mana. Giggling Inventor went from 7 mana to 6 mana. Raiding Party went from 4 mana to 3 mana. And Reckless Experimenter removed the cost can't be reduced below 1 effect that had been added to it. So those cards have all been returned kind of to their original play state and are now available for play as their new versions. And then also, Zerotio has become smarter. Oh, no, wait, sorry. That says Zephyrus. That threw me off for a minute there. I was a little confused.
Like, we know that's not true. No, Zephyrus has become smarter. They resolved multiple issues with Zephyrus choosing the perfect card, quote unquote. There were lots of situations where you'd expect to have a silence or expect to have a flare for secrets, and they've corrected that. And they also added the new basic priest cards into the Zephyrus card option. So, obviously, Zephyrus is kind of a rotating door. I know it only uses the basic cards, but anytime new cards come out, new sets, especially with Demon Hunter coming out as well, they're going to have to program in all these extra scenarios for Zephyrus. So I would expect Zephyrus to maybe have moments where it's broken, but the Team 5 seems pretty quick to want to go ahead and keep iterating on Zephyrus and fixing any misconceptions or issues with Zephyrus, which I'm happy they're doing that.
Yeah. We also saw the Priest and the Neutral Hall of Fame cards happen. So that rotation has happened. You should have received dust equal to the cards that you had in your collection. Now, exciting upcoming news. In about 3 days from the date of this recording, we will see the new ranked system come into play. So I will admit I have been holding off playing ladder just because I'm waiting on the new ranked system to hit. I'm excited about this.
I'm spinning my wheels. I was trying to see if I could get into Legend, and I got up to rank 1 3 stars, and it's just like right now everybody's trying to get into Legend, and I'm for like 4 days now I've been bouncing between 1 and 3, and I'm seeing like a good 6 7 people all 3 of those days doing the same thing. So a lot of people are having trouble, and I have a lot of friends on my friends list that are regularly Legend, and they're sitting between 3 and 1 right now.
Yeah,
it's just a tough time because there's so many viable decks, and the meta is about to get flipped. So everybody's trying to get in last minute. I think I'm happy with finishing rank 1 because I'll lose out on 1 bonus star, but I think it'll be fine for me. And I also been working on my wild rank a little bit. I only got up to rank 13, but I want to get bonus stars on it too. So I'm excited for the change. It's going to be a breath of fresh air, and hopefully it goes off as good as their testing has shown that it will.
Yeah. And then the next day, April 2nd, we get the Demon Hunter Prologue available. I really like how they stagger those. Ranked system on the first, Demon Hunter Prologue on the second, and then, of course, everything changes a week after that. On April the 7th, we will get the set rotation for Ashes of Outland and Demon Hunter to become fully playable at that time.
Now, it's important to note that on April 2nd, you're going to play a prologue to unlock all of the basic and initiate Demon Hunter cards. And what that's going to do is that's going to make it so you can play with all those. You're not going to have to open packs. You're not going to have to find other ways to get those or finish the storyline. Just do the prologue. Now, once you unlock those Demon Hunter basic and initiate cards, you won't be able to play with them on the ladder until April the 7th.
Correct.
So don't expect to be able to come right out of the prologue and start trying out the new Demon Hunter. However, you can use the Demon Hunter upgraded hero power right now, because it is in Finley's pool.
Yes.
And I've been using it to much fun, and my opponents giving me a wow emote every time I equip it and get a 1 mana gain to attack. It's so good. Which also wanted to bring up a note before we go and talk about Tavern Brawls and get into our reviews. Are there any decks that you're going to miss or not miss when the rotation happens?
I mean, already I'm not missing Leroy being in the field.
So true. Which is funny because a lot of the decks that use Leroy are still playing. They just don't have Leroy in them, and they're not as good.
No, they're not. And I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing, but you know,
So obviously I'm gonna miss Holy Rep Paladin.
Yeah, yeah, I would expect that.
But another deck I was going to miss, I've been playing a lot of, is Bomb Warrior. But I was looking at the cards in Bomb Warrior. A lot of the bomb mechanics were printed in Descent of the Fall of Dalaran, or the Dalaran Heist, whichever. League of Evil.
Yeah.
Yeah, the League of Evil set. A lot of those were printed then. Goblin Bomb, the Wrench Caliber was printed then. Omega Devastator was printed then. So those cards are going to still be legal in Standard. And I mean, might still find a way to play Bomb Warrior.
The only thing you're losing is the cards that are played that were printed in Boomsday Project. Those will be
Pretty
rotating
much, yeah.
out.
Yeah.
But yeah, the other sets and cards will be remaining. So yeah, you'll still have parts of that deck available that maybe you can work in with some of the new stuff. We'll have to wait.
I mean, the only bomb cards I run in mine are Wrench Caliber and Goblin Bomb. So I don't see why I can't at least have a bomb shell.
Right.
But again, I won't have Dr. Boom Mad Genius, so that will be a big hit to the deck. I'll have to find a way to live without that. So but yeah, right. I'm just excited. I just want to go to sleep and wake up on the 7th.
I'm sure a lot of people want to just go to sleep and wake up after April, because
yeah, sure.
for other reasons. But yeah, so we are also going to get to see the Quest Chain launch. So April the 7th at 10 a.m., you'll get play 25 cards in play mode to earn an Ashes of Outland and Descent of Dragons pack. On April 8th at 10 a.m., you'll get play 3 games in play mode as Demon Hunter to earn an Ashes of Outland and Saviors of Old Doom card pack. And then on April the 9th, at 10 a.m., you'll get play 20 spells in any mode to earn an Ashes of Outland and Rise of Shadows card pack.
Wow, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Because especially with the spell mage that may be very popular, even though people hate that you call it spell mage, but you know.
Yeah. So starting on April 7th, your new standard will of course be basic and classic, Rise of Shadows, Saviors of Old Doom, Descent of Dragons, Galakrond's Awakening, Ashes of Outland, and the Demon Hunter Initiate cards. So
super excited.
Yes, it's going to be a lot of fun. A whole new world. Okay.
Oh, don't do that. Don't do that.
So, Moving on, we have this week's Tavern Brawl is
Does anybody even care?
the return of Mechazod. So I always love these co-op Tavern Brawls. I always have. I guess that's the innkeeper in me. But this, I completed this on my second attempt. It was funny. We got, on my first attempt, my opponent and I got Mechazod down to like 10 health and couldn't finish him when he blew up and killed us. But yeah, so got him on the second attempt. Got my free pack and moved on. But I love working co-op against a boss like this.
Yeah, and the classes this time are Druid and Mage, right?
Correct.
All right. Yeah, because I got it on my first time. My opponent, my co-op partner, really knew what he was doing. It was almost like he was in my head. I was like, oh, I hope he does this, and he does exactly what I wanted it. So I got somebody really good the first go, which does not normally happen for the Mechazod ones for me.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, all right. Well, that does it for our basic news and discussion this week. Now we're going to transition and talk about the Demon Hunter new class cards, specifically the Basic and Initiate class cards. So these are the cards you'll earn by completing the Demon Hunter prologue we just talked about, coming out on April the 2nd. So, all right. Let's jump right into it. And first up, we have a Demon Minion. It's a 1 mana 2/1 Shadow Hoof Slayer. Battle Cry, give your hero +1 attack this turn. I mean,
so since your hero power is already 1 mana, this is just basically it's 1 mana for your hero power, get a 0 cost 2/1. This is what, so seeing some of the theory crafting is seeing all the cards in a shell when we're done. There are 2 paths for Demon Hunter. The very fast, aggressive, kind of swarmy style, which this goes right into, and then the more elongated, kind of like handlock style of play, where you're just kind of doing a lot of drawing and summoning large demons and some reduced cost stuff. So I like this in a very aggressive strategy, which is probably the one we're going to see the most of, at least the first few days.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Chaos Strike. It's a 2 mana spell. Give your hero +2 attack this turn. Draw a card. I mean, that's just... I love cantrips. I always have. Anything that allows you to draw a card is going to be good. But is two mana draw a card good by itself, or does the give your hero +2 attack this turn matter?
I think the give your hero +2 attack this turn matters, but I don't know if it's enough to warrant 2 mana. There's not a lot of mana cheating. There are some cheap costed cards in this set for Demon Hunter, but not a lot of mana cheating. So you're going to have to fit all of your stuff in your mana. At later turns, this is going to be really good to couple with things, but early game, basically you're getting 2 turns of your hero power, and then you draw a card for free, which is good. I just think there's stronger early game cards than this one. This might be one of the cards that gets cut.
Okay.
For, like set cards.
Yeah.
When more sets start coming out.
Okay. Next up, we have a Demon Hunter weapon. The Aldraki Warblades. 3 mana, 2/3 with lifesteal.
Yeah.
That seems great to me. Was this seeing a lot of play in the theory crafting?
It wasn't. A lot of people were saying it was overcosted, but the ones that were playing with it did realize that they're like, two attack just isn't enough. But then they realized later that the decks they were putting them in, they really have 3, sometimes 4 and 5 attack because of their hero power and the support cards like Chaos Strike. So honestly, I like this. I mean, lifesteal is going to be very important, and there is some lifesteal in the Demon Hunter set, but not like a huge abundance.
Mm-hmm.
So those those cards are kind of at a premium. So I really like these Warblades. And
Okay.
though, as we're going to show more cards and then talk about the Ashes of Outland set in later weeks, you're going to also realize there may be some better weapons to replace this.
Right. Right. Yeah. Which is usually the case. I mean, these are just basic and initiate cards. So, usually the expansion cards are going to be a little bit better.
Yes.
So, all right. Next up, we have another spell called Coordinated Strike. This is a 3 mana summon 3/1/1 Illidari with Rush. So this is kind of like a small version of bees.
Yeah, it's more like the Swarm of Locusts to me, because you control the attack on these. Um, this is where I cue in the "shut up and take my money" meme.
Uh,
Coordinated strikes. It's the value for you're getting for 3 mana, especially with other cards, which we'll talk about more throughout the basic and initiate set. The things you can do, knife jugglers off of this. There's some other cards we'll talk about. This card is going to be a staple in most Demon Hunter decks for the first set go round. Until August when we see the next set. I suspect Coordinated Strikes and its big brother, which we'll talk about in the Initiate set, will be in every deck.
okay. Next up, we have another demon minion. This is the Satyr Overseer. It's a 3 mana, 4/2. After your hero attacks, summon a 2/2 Satyr. I mean, this just seems like value. Turn 4, you play this, you use your hero power, you attack in, now you're building tempo board presence.
Yeah, and if you develop the Warblades on turn 3, you may not even need to use your hero power to do this.
Mm-hmm.
This is just super strong. It's board pressure. Obviously, it's 2 health board pressure, so fairly easy to clear. But it's something your opponent's going to have to clear.
Right, and I mean, normally you'll get at least a 2/2 out of it, I would say. So I mean, is this not really just a 3 mana 6/4?
Really, it is. Yeah, a 4 mana 6/4.
Yeah.
Basically, yeah. And we've seen this effect in that neutral pirate card. That when you attack, you summon a 1/1 pirate. I think it's a 2 mana 2/2. If I'm not mistaken. But this is so much better.
Yeah. All right, and then next up we have a non-tribe-based minion. It's the Glaive-bound Adept. It's a 5 mana, 7 attack, 4 health. Battle Cry. If your hero attacked this turn, deal 4 damage. So
Yeah,
this is where
that's targeted damage too.
Yeah,
that's
this is where
random.
what's the word I'm looking for? Not positioning, but the order. Order is very important here.
Order matters.
You do not want to play this before you've attacked.
Yeah, which kind of makes it a little awkward because maybe there's a taunt that you want to do the 4 damage to, but you'll have to attack with your face into the taunt be able to then hit it with 4 damage. So
for 6 mana, you can remove a 5 health target.
That's true. That's true. Obviously, there's breakpoints to worry about here, and as you see here, a lot of your Demon Hunter minions are very aggressively statted. We're looking at 4/2 for the previous minion. This is a 7/4. So the health is a little low, which makes me worried about matchups against things like a mage that has a lot of damage-based board clear. But if they can't clear it, this is a lot of damage sticking on the board. 7/4 is nothing to just ignore.
Right, exactly. All right. So next up, we have another spell called Soul Cleave. This is a 3 mana life steal. Deal 2 damage to 2 random enemy minions.
Yeah, this is cleave for warrior, but 1 more mana for lifesteal.
Yes.
So yeah, this I mean, again, this is another one of those cards that, based on the cost, it might get cut when you start seeing the better set cards come out. But early on, if you see a lot of aggressive or a lot of mirrors, this is a good card to tech in to clear those small minions that are building up board early.
Mm-hmm. And then you have one of my favorite Demon Hunter basic cards, the Chaos Nova. Again, it's a spell. It's 5 mana. Deal 4 damage to all minions. So
yeah, you're gonna see this a lot.
Yeah, this is like Mage's Flame Strike, but it deals damage to everything for 2 less, as opposed to just your opponent's minion for 2 more. So I like this card a lot.
The important thing to remember about this card is it can be found off of Zephrys, because it is a basic card. All of these basic cards can be found off of Zephrys.
Yep. So, all right, moving on. We have another demon minion. It is the Sightless Watcher. 2 mana, 3 attack, 2 health, battle cry. Look at 3 cards in your deck. Choose one to put on top of your deck. So, I do believe this is the first card in Hearthstone where you discover, and instead of it going in your hand, it becomes your next draw.
Yeah, a lot of people kind of associated this to tracking, but tracking, as you look at 3 cards, draw 1 and you discard the other 2. You don't lose the other 2 cards in this case. They just go back to wherever they were in the deck, and the card you chose will be your next draw. At first, a lot of people said, "Oh, this isn't very strong. This isn't very powerful," because it's not something immediate. But in theory crafting and on the streams, they realized that first off, the 2 mana 3/2 body is just good.
Yeah.
Especially the fact that it's a demon. That alone gives you a reason to put it in the deck. And then Outcast, because if you put an Outcast card on the top of your deck, that means next turn it will have the Outcast ability available for it.
Mm-hmm.
So this plays perfectly into the Outcast ability, which we talked about last week. The Outcast ability for Demon Hunter is if a card with Outcast is in your far right or far left hand of your left side of your hand, when you play it, you get a bonus effect or a special effect.
Yeah. And can we just talk about how absolutely adorable this little watcher is with his 6 tiny warglaves and 6 of 8 tentacles?
You could use the word adorable. I wouldn't. This is fuels for my nightmare. This I'm gonna have. Look at the teeth.
He's got his little warglaves all wrapped up in his little tentacles. And
can you call him a watcher now that all 7 of his eyes are blind?
Well, yeah, maybe.
I mean, he's a sightless watcher. Isn't that kind of an oxymoron?
Moving on, we have another spell. It's called Inner Demon. This is an 8 mana spell. Give your hero +8 attack this turn. Does this just cost too much?
So, yes, I think it costs too much to put in a deck, but you will find this off Zephrys.
That's true.
So on turn 10, you have a guaranteed 8 points of damage to face if you need it for lethal. If you're running Zephrys and Zephrys is active.
Okay.
This is where you're going to see it most often. But there may be some shenanigans where maybe in a deck, maybe there's a Demon Hunter deck that runs Kel'Thas, and you play really cheap spells to then play your third spell being Inner Demon, and then you play 2 more cheap spells and another Inner Demon, and that's 16 points of damage, not to mention any other damage that you've created with the other spells that you cast. So there may be some kind of combo deck that allows for this. But I think to put it in a deck, it's just overcosted. Kind of like Pyroblast. A lot of people don't want to run Pyroblast because it's 10. Yeah, it's 10 damage, but it's 10 mana for 10 damage. And unless you're cheating it or have a combo using it, Pyroblast usually isn't included in your deck. And I think Inner Demon is going to be that same type of card.
A lot of people take Pyroblast off Zephrys.
It's true.
So.
And this is something that you'll get Tyrion and you might get Inner Demon if 8 damage is enough for lethal.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right, moving on, we have
that's all of our basic cards.
Yes, so this begins the Demon Hunter Initiate cards. So, Zerotio, kind of explain how Initiate works, because we talked about it a little bit before the show, but
so Initiate is basically its own set. It's just a block of cards from just that set. It is going to be standard legal, but I believe it was mentioned in a tweet from Celestalon that it's going to be considered Year of the Dragon, which is kind of weird that it wouldn't be considered Year of the Phoenix, but it's considered Year of the Dragon so that when the Year of the Dragon rotates out, the Demon Hunter Initiate cards will go away. Now that they haven't said specifically what will happen, but it sounds like through the rumor mill that they're going to have other Initiate sets replace it as the meta changes, and they're basically just not wanting to lock these cards in Standard permanently, like they did with Classic. They could have just added Classic cards.
Right, they could have just called these Demon Hunter Classic cards and that been that. I
think that action there tells me that Team 5 knows that Classic and Standard Evergreen is problemsome and may need to be addressed in the next couple of years. So this just may be foresight and them kind of hedging their bets that they're going to be making some Classic changes in the future, so they don't want to have those happen to the Demon Hunter cards as well.
Right.
And who knows? They may say next year that Initiate Demon Hunter cards, these existing Initiate cards, just rotate into Standard still. So It gives them flexibility, which I like.
Yeah. So let's talk about them. First up, we have the 2 Demon Hunter legendaries. They're both minions. First up, we have Altruis the Outcast. He's a 3-mana, 3/2. After you play the left or right most card in your hand, deal 1 damage to all enemies. This just exploits that Outcast mechanic, and I love it.
Yeah, and I've seen this in the theory crafting the other day in the stream, and when an Altruis was on the board, you could get a board clear really fast, and your opponent just says, "I got to kill that." Again, we're seeing lots of Demon Hunter mirrors, so that may be influencing their decisions at the time. Again, the theory crafting streams aren't a perfect scenario because everybody's trying the new cards, so it's hard to gauge how powerful something actually is when nothing else is being used. So
okay,
this is strong though. I like it.
Then we have now I'm going to probably butcher this. Nethrandamus. See, there you go.
Yeah.
9 mana, 8/8 dragon, battle cry. Summon 2 random 0-cost minions, and it upgrades each time a friendly minion dies.
Yes.
So see, random is even in his name.
So what that means is when you have a friendly minion die, and this is in your hand, it goes to 2 random 1-cost minions, and then 2 cost and 3 cost. I'm guessing capping at 10.
Probably.
but who knows?
So I
That
mean,
would be
if you
some
if you
theory
get this in
crafting.
your hand, if you draw this, say turn 2 or 3, by the time you reach 9 mana, he could be
Yeah.
summoning 2/8/8s or 2/9/9s.
So it's a 9 cost that actually gains value for getting in your hand early. Um, but anything that summons additional minions is strong. I mean, Syndragosa summoned 2/0/1s that had death rattle effects, and people put those in Mage.
Uh-huh.
So I mean, this is a good card. Uh, the scary times is when it comes off of Dairy Queen Alexstrasza.
Yeah,
It's 0 cost.
right. But I mean, then
Now,
it's going to be 2 0 cost minions. So
yeah, but you could save it a couple turns if they deal with your Alexstrasza and any other minions. Then whatever they killed is just going to fuel this up, and at 0 mana for an 8/8 and maybe 2/3 cost minions, I'll pay that.
okay, all right. Moving on, we have a couple of epic cards. The first is an epic spell called Eye Beam. Now, if you guys watched the reveal video a couple weeks ago, we actually got to see this. It's a 3 mana life steal, deal 3 damage to a minion. If this card is, it also has Outcast. So if it's the leftmost or rightmost card in your hand, it's 0 to cast to deal 3
Yeah.
damage to a minion and life steal. That's huge. This card's good at the 3 mana cost. It's insane at the 0 mana cost.
Oh yeah, I like this a lot. Yeah, I like this card a lot. I think Outcast is going to be. It might be powerful enough for them to address it, but I really, really like it because if you top deck it, it's good. Or if you have it in your hand and you're playing cards, it'll slowly migrate itself to the left.
Correct. So, all right. Next up, we have a Demon Hunter minion. Again, this one has no tribe. It is the Wrathscale Naga. It's a 3 mana, 3/1 epic. After a friendly minion dies, deal 3 damage to a random enemy. So now this only has 1 health, so it probably won't live long. But if you play it and then trade your board, it could do a lot of work.
This card scares me. It's so good. Coordinated Strikes, 3 mana to summon the 3/1/1s with Rush. Just run them into minions. Yeah. Obviously, at 1 health, you can't do shenanigans with, say, Pyromancer or anything like that. But still, if your opponent has a board of any form, you're just going to just sacrifice these Rush minions and just this 3 damage can go to face.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be like Machine Gun Kelly in there, just going nuts. I'm not excited. I'm excited to play with this card. I'm not excited to play against this card.
Yeah. All right. Next up, we have another epic minion. This is a demon minion, the Wrath Spike Brute. It's a 5 mana, 2/6 with taunt. After this is attacked, deal 1 damage to all enemies.
Yeah, this is where we're starting to see cards get into that anti-aggro, and this is the other path of Demon Hunter, where it's a more slow-paced, more mid-range to control-y style. And if you're playing against a board of a lot of 2/1s, 1/1s, 3/1s, and you play this, normally they just would chunk their minions into it and go to your face. Well, the first minion they send in is going to do 1 damage to the whole board, and now they have nothing to clear this with. So it's really going to reward proper board situations for the control style player, and this is good.
Yeah, I like it a lot. Then we have another Demon Hunter weapon. This is the Flame Reaper. It's an epic weapon. 7 mana, 4 attack, 3 durability. Also damages the minions next to whomever your hero attacks. So this basically has what's the word? Cleave.
Cleave.
Cleave. Yeah.
7 costs is a little expensive for my taste for this. I mean, it gives me kind of like flashbacks to old Gorehowl, and while it was used in specific control style matchups, it really wasn't highly used.
See, this reminds
and
me
I
of
think,
the Gladiator bow for Hunter.
yeah, it's similar. A similar situation. Gladiator bow even saw less play. So 7 mana for a 4/3 weapon. It can possibly equate to 36 points of damage depending on board situations. Again, play with it, see if you like it, see if it plays with your style. But this will probably be one of the first cards you cut when you start optimizing your lists.
Right. All right. Now we're into the rare initiate cards. We have a couple of spells and a minion. So first up, we have Blade Dance. It's a 2-mana spell. Deal damage equal to your hero's attack to 3 random enemy minions. So this is one of those cards where, the cards we saw earlier that were giving you a boost to your hero's attack could be comboed into Blade Dance to do 2, 3, 4, 5 damage to 3 random enemy minions.
Yeah. And it's important to note that if you have a weapon, that is also your hero's attack. Now, if your weapon has lifesteal, this will not give you lifesteal for the damage because the weapon's not doing the damage, the spell is. So that was something people thought during the theory craft that would work that way, but it did not. But it makes sense that it doesn't. But there are, when I first saw this and saw people talking about this card, they were like, well, it's two mana for most of the time. You're going to do 1 damage to 3 minions. But it was found out during the theory crafting, there are many situations where your hero has 2 or more attack. And if you have 2 mana left over in that turn, this could be a very good board clear.
Yeah. So the next card is another rare spell called Feast of Souls. It's a 2 mana, draw a card for each friendly minion that died this turn. So this is another card that is very, very important about order of operations when you play this card.
Actually, a lot of the Demon Hunter cards are all about order. If you do the card in the wrong order, play the cards in the wrong order, then you're not going to get the optimal results, which is good. I like that because it seems to be a high skill testing class, and I want to see more of that in Hearthstone, especially if we're going to bring in more classes. I want them to be high skill testing and not just be autopilot. A lot of people thought the aggressive Demon Hunter would be an autopilot deck, but it clearly, seeing it in practice, is not the case. And this card is one of those because you might end up drawing a lot of cards. And that was something, I think it was Regis was playing with this card, and he kind of noted that you can trade a couple minions and then play this and then trade some more if you don't want to overdraw. You don't have to play it after you do all the trading. So that's something else to remember, is maybe you got 4 minions on the board, or you summon 4 rushes and then trade 2, then draw, and then trade 2 more so you don't overdraw or cause fatigue issues in the future.
All right. Then we have another non-tribal minion, the Illidari Failblade. It's a 4 mana, 5 attack, 3 health rush with Outcast. If you play it from the right or left of your hand, it gains immune the turn it comes into play.
So there is a dragon, the evasive Feywing, I think it is, that is a 7 mana 5/3 that can't be targeted with Divine Shield. And it is an amazing top deck late game.
It's like 6 mana, isn't it?
7 mana.
7 mana. Okay.
Yeah, I think it's 7. it might be 6 and increase to 7 with Embiggen. Either way, it's more expensive than this, and this is just is just as good. It's better top deck in my opinion. Yeah, I like it. I like it a lot.
Yeah. So, all right. Moving on, we have another rare Tribalist minion, the Raging Fell Screamer. It's a 4-mana 4/4 battle cry. The next demon you play costs 2 less. Now, we've seen a lot of the demons are Demon Hunter cards, or a lot of Demon Hunter minions are demons. And
Yes.
so, I mean, this just has good synergy with a lot of the minions that you're going to be seeing Demon Hunter play.
Yeah, we've seen this effect before. Dragon Consort. It's in Wild now, but it was a 5-mana 5/5 dragon that make the next dragon you play cost 2 less. Another important thing to note on this is the next demon you play costs 2 less. It doesn't have to be this turn.
Correct.
So you could play this on 4, and then on turn 5 you could play a 7-cost demon.
Yeah, that's big.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great curve. This is kind of lending to that larger demon, kind of slower gameplay where you're just going to put big demons down every turn. Usually turn 5 and on, it's just going to be big demon after big demon.
Right.
And that was like the second kind of style of play I saw with Demon Hunter during the theory crafting, and it was pretty effective.
Yeah. All right. Next up, we have another rare spell, the Soul Split. 4 mana, choose a friendly demon, summon a copy of it. This is, I mean, it's really going to depend on if. I don't think you would play this on. This is not a spell you'd play on curve.
No, and it's not like Faceless Manipulator, where Faceless Manipulator is a minion and it's 5 costs. It's basically the same effect. I don't know. I'm not convinced that this is good enough to put into a deck.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think it's that good. I mean, I could be wrong. There may be some crazy combos with it, but I haven't seen any demons that are neutral or Demon Hunter that you could break with this card.
Yeah.
Maybe in future sets.
Maybe. Let's talk about a big demon. Next up, we have the rare Hulking Overfiend. It's an 8-mana 5/10 with Rush. After this attacks and kills a minion, it may attack again. So 10 health and can keep attacking every time it kills something. This seems pretty good to me.
Yeah, and imagine this on turn 6 with Raging Fell Scream on turn 5.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah, dropping this big guy on turn 6 could be devastating.
Yeah, maybe even you have the coin, you could do it on 5.
Wow.
I mean, yeah. I think there's a lot of hesitance for your high end players to play this card. I did not see it a lot during the theory crafting. I think a lot of that's because 8 mana for a 5/10, but there are ways to break this. Yeah. And depending on your skill level on the ladder, if you're, obviously this will be after the new ladder changes, but if you're sitting in the silver, maybe gold range, maybe this is a type of card that you could do well with and that skill level on the ladder.
Mm-hmm. So, all right. Now we're into our Demon Hunter Initiate Commons. First up, we have a spell, Blur. It's 0 mana. Your hero can't take damage this turn. So this seems like it would be a perfect spell for when you're going to be buffing your hero attack and then using your face to clear something.
Yeah, and this is this turn, not just for an attack or anything. And there's a lot of, and we're going to be going to more cards and some of the cards in the sets later, but there are some that allow your your opponent to use its health as a resource. Your hero, I mean, to use its health as a resource. Where every time you attack into a minion, you're allowed to attack again.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're attacking and attacking and attacking. If you're not taking any damage and for 0 cost, this is another 0 cost card that could couple with Kel'Thas to allow him to break some of the higher end spells, like that 8 cost for 8 damage. And we'll be talking about another one here next. So, yeah, this is. I think Blur might end up being used as kind of like a combo setup card.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's just good.
Okay. Next, we have that card you were kind of alluding to, Twin Slice. This is a 0 mana. Give your hero +1 attack this turn. And then you add Second Slice to your hand. So
and Second Slice is just another 0 cost 1 attack. It's the exact same card.
Yeah, so it's kind of like some of the twin spell cards we've seen in the past. It just doesn't have the twin spell keyword.
So a lot of people were a little in uproar that this didn't have twin spell on it. They're like, it's obviously twin spell. This is Blizzard again, not wanting to do this. No, this is not twin spell. With twin spell, if I played Twin Slice and it was in the middle of my hand, it would the second copy would go back to the middle of my hand. With Twin Slice, you play Twin Slice, the second slice goes to the right of your hand, which in the case of the Altruist, the legendary, can now be used as like it's an outcast card. So it will meet that outcast qualification. So with Altruist, this is pretty strong because you play Twin Slice, you have Altruist on the board, you play Twin Slice, then you play the second slice, which is on the right hand of your card, and you do 1 damage to the whole board. So, or one damage to all the enemies. So there is a difference between this being twin spell and it not being twin spell on where the second copy goes into your hand, which is important with Demon Hunter.
Okay. All right. Next up, we have another common demon minion. This is the Battle Fiend. He's a 1 mana 2/2. After your hero attacks, gain +1 attack. This is kind of crazy.
So 1 mana 2/2s historically have just been vanilla minions.
Yeah, right, like now we recently have 1 mana, the Battle Mage, right? That one just came out.
Yeah. Battle Mage is a 1 mana 2/2 neutral. There was the Enchanted Raven, I think it was a 1 mana 2/2 a Druid minion that was a beast. The fact that this has some other text that isn't negative or a drawback is this has got to be one of the best 1 cost minions ever.
Yeah.
And albeit it's initiate set, so compare it to classic set, so it might be in standard for a while. We don't know yet. Mm-hmm. This is just good. This is a great common, and in arena this is going to be broken.
Oh yeah, it'll see a lot of play, I think. All right. Next up, we have another common spell, Consume Magic. It's a 1 mana, silence an enemy minion. If this card is on the left or right, its outcast ability is draw a card.
Yeah.
1 mana, silence, and draw a card is ridiculously good.
I mean, 0 cost silence was played in Priest. And add 1 mana to draw a card if it's in the far right. Which a lot of times you're wanting to top deck this anyways to clear something. So and usually you're like, I want my silence, but I don't want my top deck to just be a silence. I want to do something else. Well, top deck will get you a silence and then draw something else for you.
Mm-hmm. Yep. All right. Next up, we have another common spell, Mana Burn. It's a 1 mana spell. your opponent has 2 fewer mana crystals next turn. Now, we've seen cards that that are really strong that remove mana crystals from you, but have we ever seen directly the ability to limit an opponent's crystals?
I don't think so.
I mean, other than the minion that sets both players to 5, I don't think we've ever had direct mana
true.
crystal.
Mojo Master Zihi.
Yeah. But I mean, other than that, I don't think we've ever had direct enemy mana crystal manipulation.
Well, not for reduction. The new Timeless Nozdormu, or Nozdormu Dragons,
or whatever,
sets to 10. But that's not a drawback. That's not a negative. This is the first of its kind, but at the same time, I don't think it's good because basically you're paying a mana to have a mana advantage next turn.
I mean, like I could see maybe early game, like if you play this, if you play this on your turn 2 and then pass, your opponent can do nothing but pass.
I think this is more used for a tech card. If there's a specific like combo or a turn that a certain deck goes off, and you want to put this in your deck to make sure on that turn they're disrupted, then you put this in your deck. I just don't. I don't think it's that good just as a core strategy for a deck.
Okay. All right. Then we have another common demon minion, Urzul Horror, 1 mana, 2/1, Death Rattle. Add a 2/1 Lost Soul to your hand. So it's a 1 mana, 2/1. When it dies, it replaces itself with, or it basically gives you another 2/1 minion in your hand. I'm assuming the Lost Soul is also a 1 mana.
Yeah. It's also a 1 mana 2/1. It's just like the Urzul Horror, except it's doesn't have the Death Rattle.
Right.
It's in testing and the theory crafting. In the theory crafting, there was not a lot of people liking this.
I mean, I could see this working well with, the cards. Like, this could have synergy with cards we saw earlier that, like, deal damage when a minion dies, or, this would be a good 1 health. You can ping it yourself to kill it and trigger another ability of some kind. So maybe. I could see options with this, but it would have to be very specific.
I mean, for just a aggressive strategy, just to have a 1-drop you can get out early that replaces itself when it dies, it's a good starting point. But don't be afraid to cut this card if you find a better 1-drop or find a better, later game, mid game that would work better for you.
Yeah.
But I do think it's a good starting point for a Demon Hunter deck right now with the limited card pool that we'll have for Demon Hunter.
Okay. Then we've got a common Demon Hunter weapon, the Umber Wing. It's a 2 mana, 1 attack, 2 durability, battle cry, summon 2 1/1 Fell Wings.
So it's 2 mana for 2 1/1s, which with a 1/2 weapon. This is just good value. I mean,
because
again,
go ahead.
It might be something you find better value later on, but to start out your aggressive Demon Hunter list, this is good. I mean, on turn 1,
you gotta remember
on turn 2,
that,
this is big.
Yeah, you got to remember that your hero power only costs 1. So you equip the Umber Wing.
Yep.
Hero power. Now you're attacking for 2, and you're summoning 2 1/1s. I mean, this is just really, really good.
I'll tell you who is salivating right now, and that's Knife Juggler.
Oh, man.
Demon Hunter, an aggressive Demon Hunter package with all these summons and all these cheap minions, and also able to use your face to possibly clear some minions so that those daggers can go face. yeah, somewhere right now, Knife Juggler just polishing his knives off.
So, all right, and then the last card in our Demon Hunter Initiate card list is a common spell, Command the Illidari. 5 mana, summon 6 1/1 Illidari with Rush. Why? Because vengeance, 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 vengeance.
Yeah, this card, and they all say vengeance when they attack. It is hilarious. So this is like Swarm of Locusts from Hunter, except instead of 6 mana for 7, you get 5 mana for 6. And you think, why 5 mana for 6? Well, that gives you that you're not wasting mana for that one extra board space. You're going to want to put that 3/1 minion that does damage every time a minion dies, or a Knife Juggler, or something else to go with Command the Illidari. So I like that it's summons 6 and not fills your board.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is scary. This is nightmare fuel. This is one of the reasons why I'm not excited to see Demon Hunter, is because of these type of aggressive strategies. Yeah, we'll just have to see how it goes. But man, again, that big turn play with the 3/1 that does damage. That's a turn 8 play.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Don't expect it. Don't expect it in a very aggressive strategy. But there's definitely lots
strategies.
of potential.
Look out.
Yeah, maybe. Well, more mid range, maybe. But yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, that is the end of our basic and initiate cards.
Yes.
So now we will be going over. We will be going over the neutral cards from Ashes of Outland next week on this show.
Yes.
If you are a patron of Hero Power, you will get access to our class card reviews next week as well, but those will not be made available to everybody else until later, probably after the Ashes of Outland set releases.
We'll probably give them another week, and then we'll do the first set, and then a week for the following. So we haven't decided that exactly yet, but eventually they will get pushed out as extra content for our regular viewers. But all of our patrons will have early access to that. As a matter of fact, we're going to be recording them this week, so they'll get those along just after we do the episode for neutral cards next week.
Yep. All right. I believe that covers everything we had this week. So if you have any questions or comments about the show, please email us at heropowerpodcast@gmail.com. If you haven't done so already, please hit that subscribe button below on YouTube, or give us a follow on Twitch to be alerted when we go live. Hopefully we'll have these technical issues ironed out by next week. But if you are interested in becoming a patron and getting access to those early class review videos or our patron-only Discord, you can head over to patreon.com/heropower for more details. And, Zerotio?
Don't forget to use your hero power for vengeance!